All right, welcome everyone. Today we will be running Forget Me Not. This is a game being run for the Gauntlet online community, the gauntletrpg.com, I believe. But do a search for the Gauntlet RPG and you will find us. My name is Tomer, and I will be facilitating this game. But this is a GM-less game. There is no game master here. So if you're familiar with games like Microscope or The Final Girl, or Fiasco, this game is kind of similar in some ways to those games. It's got very simple kind of rules, and we'll go over whatever little bits we'll need to as we go. But first, what I'll do is I will introduce the cast of players, and then I'll talk a little bit about the game we'll be playing today. So yeah, let me start with David.
Yeah, my name's David. I am a constant with the Gauntlet. I try and get in many games, as many as I possibly can. And I am also a host of Discern Realities podcast.
Cool, thank you. And in fact, I think the very first Gauntlet game I played was The Final Girl with you. That was maybe a year ago. Patrick?
Yeah, hi, I'm Patrick. I'm the newbie. I've never played any of these games before, and David and I go to school together, and he kind of described them to me, and I'd noticed that, D&D and stuff like that has kind of been making a comeback on YouTube, so I figured, I might want to give that a try.
Get in with all the cool kids.
Right.
Awesome. And then Steven.
Hi, I'm Steven. I've been playing games on the Gauntlet for just a couple of months, but I've been playing role-playing games for several years. So I'm pretty familiar with storytelling games. But I have never played this particular game before.
Cool, thanks. All right, so I'll do a little bit of the CATS procedure. This is something that Jason and crew here at the Gauntlet have kind of formalized a little bit. Just a little bit of an overview of what we're expecting to get out of this game, kind of the tone of the game, that kind of thing. So the CATS procedure starts with talking about the concept. So this game is like I said, a GM-less game. It's a scene framing game. And the premise of the game is we're going to take turns being directors, and we're going to have a cast of characters that we're going to be playing with. So especially if you've played a game like The Final Girl, it's got kind of similar mechanics to some degree with that. The theme of the game is really about a kind of story that feels very similar to Twin Peaks. So there's a young lady, a teenager, a high school student who's been murdered in this small town up in the forests, forest town somewhere, and no one's really trying to find out who the murderer is really all that much, right? So that's kind of the concept of exploring during this game. So what are we trying to accomplish? There's no winners and losers in this game. So nobody's trying to win. In fact, we're just doing a very collaborative kind of storytelling type thing. And one of the things that we will find at the end of the game is we will find out who the murderer was. So we will find out who killed this poor girl, Jessica Ashwick. However, none of us needs to strive hard in any way to try to push the story there. So don't worry too much about, who is and isn't the murderer. But that will all be found out at the very end. As long as we kind of like follow the rules and have some fun, we'll get there. So as far as tone, some games have like a very dark tone. Some games have a very like gonzo, crazy, silly tone. This one kind of sits somewhere in the middle. I mean, just think about like what maybe about Twin Peaks, or stories that are a little bit kind of, hard to grasp, a little bit weird. They can have some bizarre elements, but that could be mixed in with some dark elements as well. And this game kind of floats on that line, somewhere between the two. A little bit of dark, a little bit of kind of maybe silly. That's okay. And we'll kind of, go down roughly that line. And then as far as the subject matter, because this game can go dark, I mean, you can take it kind of wherever you want. And it is modern day. It's got a pretty wide cast of characters. It's probably worth mentioning that, if you do have any kind of themes or things you definitely do not want to explore, that's a good thing to say up front. But we will be playing with the X card. And some of you may be familiar with that. This is definitely one of the many tools we use in the community to make sure that everyone's having a good time and everyone's boundaries are respected. The way the X card works in real life, you may have a card with a little X on it that you have on the table. In virtual land here, we're going to use a virtual X. So one way you can do it is by, holding up your hands like an X. If something comes up, you can actually just say X card, or you can just say if you have a problem with something, if you want to stop for a second. So the whole premise is if content comes up that you're uncomfortable with, we all want to have a good time and respect those boundaries. So if somebody throws a spider into the scene and you're a deadly arachnophobe and that's not your thing, just X card that. Just say X card, or hey, can we not have the spider? I kind of get icky with spiders, and we can just change it into a rat or something that you don't have a problem with, right? It's that easy. So before I go any further, does anybody have any questions about the game or specifically about the X card, or have any content that they want to make sure is kind of out of bounds? I will say for me personally, like I definitely don't want any kind of like sexual violence in this game. It's something that in theory could come up. The game doesn't really push you in that direction. But that's not something I want to explore. But that's an example of putting a bound on our play. Okay, cool. So if we don't have any further questions there, then I would like to introduce you guys to my friend Tom Grant. It's my alternate persona. That is an extra member that we have joining in on the call on another computer. And right now I've clicked on it so our recorded audience can see this, and you guys can see it by clicking on the Tom user. But what this is this is a series of cards that we're going to have in play. So the game itself, although it's a role-playing game, it comes with a deck of cards, and I have these cards here in front of me. You can purchase the cards. You can also just buy this as like a print and play, so you can print it on paper and just play that way. Our character card, and you'll notice on one side they have just the name of the person and a little picture. And normally in this game, these are the cards that I'll pass out to you guys as players, so you can choose, maybe one or two people that you want to have in the game. And then the backside is kind of what we're seeing on our screen now, right? The backside has these different aspects that get said during the scenes. So we'll get to that in just a minute. There's also these thread cards, and the thread cards are basically locations and other themes that will be explored in this game. I mention all this right now because, if you look at the screen, we've got 4 themes going on here, 4 threads, and we've got 8 characters. And that's because we're playing a 4-player game. But this game can handle 3 to 5 players, and there's a whole bunch of different, threads. So you can kind of play it over and over again and have kind of different things going on with different people. So you don't necessarily get bored. Cool. Then what I will do is I will start us off and kind of take us through. This is my little cheat sheet for the game, which kind of makes sure I don't forget anything as I go through. But what we're going to do is we've already set up the board. You can see it up there. Now you will notice there's a couple of little weird squares in the top left corner, right? There's one with a plus sign, and there's 2 of them with little zeros in them. Like a red one and kind of like a gray chit. In the real world, I like to use Legos on these things, on the cards to kind of track these things. But here we're going to use these little, virtual chits. And these are called standing still and moving forward markers. And we're going to use them during the game. I'll explain it when we get there. But before we start, let me read, actually, I'll bring up here. Let me see if I've got it on my screen. Or no, maybe it's on Tom's screen there. Yes. So you'll notice the Falls Gazette, right? And in fact, does anybody want to volunteer to read the Falls Gazette?
Yeah, sure, I got it. So, Falls Gazette, young woman found dead, no witnesses. Northern Falls, on June 1st, 1986, Jessica Ashwick was found dead. While the police have not been forthcoming with information, it can be reported that Jessica's family is inconsolable and unreachable at this time. Sheriff Gray assures the people of Northern Falls that this is an isolated incident and the murder will be brought to justice. No word from the mayor's office yet, but rumor has it that Gary Rowe intends to issue a press release soon. Meanwhile, the residents of Northern Falls have reacted indifferently to the death, despite Jessica's close ties to the community.
Nice. So that's our little background, and we're basically kind of ready to play now. What I'm going to do is I will, let's see if I've got it right here. I'm going to read the little flavor text that we have on our various threads up at the top, because they're kind of hard to make out for any of us, not just those of you who are watching the recording at some later time. Let me see here. Hold on just a sec. What do we have here? We have got government audit. And I've got the original document here, which is a little bit easier to read. It's not even that easy as well. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can turn it sideways here. Yep. All right. Government audit. Quality inspectors, my ass. This ain't DC. This is Northern Falls. Ain't no one telling me my moonshine has to meet quality control standards or my beaver pelts. So we've got government audit there. We've got Fireworks Friday. And by the way, these were all chosen by the various players here in the game. Where's Fireworks Friday? Oh, how come I can't find it? I'll get back to it in a second. Here, let's read leash laws. And I suppose my children are going to know the difference between a nice dog and a purebred on sight, not to mention the poop on my lawn. Got that one. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. Fireworks Friday. America needs to be loved more than just once a year. If you can't hug her beautiful blue sky once a week, then maybe you need to move to France. We've got Jessica Ashwick. She was the kind of girl no one talked to and few people cared about. She kept to herself, and keeping to herself made everyone else happy. So those are our threads that we're going to explore. And what we're going to do is we're going to take turns being the director. So I'm just going to go ahead and be the director of this first scene just so you can see what that looks like. And when you're the director, you get to assign roles to everybody else for that scene. And then you get to also kind of set the scene, right? So I'm going to choose one character for each of you players. And then I'm going to choose which thread we're going to explore. The only one we're not allowed to explore yet is Jessica Ashwick, right? That one only comes up a little bit later. Once we've explored the other ones first a little bit. And I'll get into exactly how that works later. It's not too important. Let's start with maybe a little bit of happy times. We'll start with Fireworks Friday. And in this scene, we're going to have Sheriff Gray. Sheriff Gray is going to be played by Steven.
Okay.
We're going to have David, who's going to be playing Portia Ivory Wood. And she is our trophy wife. And Patrick is going to be playing Dahlia Ramirez, which is our diner waitress, right? So it's going to be Fireworks Friday. This scene is going to occur maybe like right outside the diner, which is around the center of town, right? Like on the main street, right? I kind of picture maybe Dahlia's like on a smoke break or something like that. I'm going to say that she's already talking to Sheriff Gray, and Portia, you can come in kind of whenever you want, right? Now, a couple of things before we jump into the scenes. This is really simple. You only have one job in every scene. You can do whatever you want. You can play as much as you want, but you have to say those words that are at the top of that card, right? So whatever little square is currently empty, right? Right now, the top square, like all the squares are empty. So the top empty square, you've got to use that word, just that one word. So at some point, Dahlia Ramirez has to say, try the strudel, right? That's it. That's your only goal during the scene. Now, sometimes these things are in quotes. Sometimes they're not. If they're not in quotes, you can kind of imply them. If they're in quotes, they kind of want you to say those actual words. But, you know, we're flexible here. So that's really the only thing you guys have to do. And I, as the director, I'm going to have to watch, right? I'm going to have to watch to make sure that all those things are hit, because once they are, I can call scene, right? When I feel it's appropriate to call scene. Now, there is one other thing you guys have to do, and this could be any of you. So none of you specifically are responsible, but as a group, one of you has to mention Jessica Ashwick. Okay. It could be in passing. You could just use the word Jessica. You could even just say, oh, that poor girl that was murdered last week, or whatever. You can say it in whatever manner you want, but we have to imply Jessica in the scene somewhere, right? You don't have to mention that she's murdered. You know, it can be anything about her, right? But she's got to come up somewhere by one of you.
Okay, so she has been murdered at this point.
Yes.
And everyone's aware of this. Okay. That was going to be. And you, as the director, are not playing a specific character?
Not at all. I'm just watching you guys and making sure you guys hit the marks, right?
Okay.
Hey, do you think you could send a PDF of the cards that we're using? Because I can't read the first line.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Let me, I've got this actually in kind of a nice format. Yeah, here we go. This is nice and big and readable.
All right. So the top line for Dahlia is try the strudel. The top line for Portia is Cure Royale. And the top line for Sheriff Gray is AM 620.
Yeah. What you guys have for now, I'm about to send you guys an email with, there we go. I've got all you guys on there.
I have a question. What's the text on the side of the profile pictures? Because on hers it says like discount 2 underneath, and then on the right it says buys weed for.
Great question, and this is something that I definitely need to make sure you guys know before we start the scene. So all these characters have relationships with one another. Those relationships came out kind of randomly. I just chose these as random and threw them out on the board. So all those things inform the relationships. So we can see here, for example, if we look at Werner Schmidt, right? His say that he shares a drink with Lorena Bourdain and that he hides from Roberta Euchre, right, which is our newspaper owner. Now, we don't know exactly why he does these things, but that's just the way that may come up in play. And it's a good thing for you to look at prior to the scene to inform kind of maybe the way you're going to be acting as these characters, right? But yeah, like the Dahlia stuff is already kind of revealing some things, right? Now, as far as the characters that are over off to the side or at the bottom, if they have a relationship that kind of goes off the page, then don't worry about it. It doesn't scroll around or anything weird, right? So like Portia on the side, it says she's got a secret affair and then it's just blank. So we don't have to worry about that. If you want to play that she's got secret affairs with people, that's great. But it's not specifically implied here. All right, cool. So any other questions before we go into scene? I sent an email to you guys, by the way. Double check real quick before we start. Did you guys all receive that?
I got it, and I can read it.
Yes. So there you go.
Oh yeah, this is much more readable.
All right, cool. Everybody knows who they are? All right, then action.
Good evening, Sheriff. How are you tonight?
Evening, Dahlia. Can I get a coffee out here?
Oh, sure, sure. Discount as always. And would you mind trying the strudel tonight? It's extra special. Red, white, and blue for the festivities tonight.
Dahlia, you know my weakness. I am going to.
Your only weakness.
Gaining so much weight.
Oh, stop.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That is some good strudel you got down here.
It's extra fresh. Is there anything else I can get for you?
No. Just taking a break.
You out catching the bad guys tonight?
Just driving around mostly, keeping an eye on things. Worst I got to worry about some kids' toilet paper at the house last night. So I figure they try again tonight.
Oh, sure. They're all over the place these days.
Yeah. And of course, there's the whole murder thing, but I don't got to do anything about that tonight. There's nobody to talk to in the evening. I'll drop by.
Is there something I need to be worried about? What? Who was murdered?
Oh, you didn't hear about that? Jessica Ashwick. Didn't you ever eat down here?
Oh, that sweet little girl. That's tragic. She was so quiet and kept to herself, and a really just sweet little girl.
I'll come wandering up at this point. There's fireworks. It's obnoxious. It's loud. And I've got like a fur, and I'm completely overdressed for, well, anything that would ever happen in this town. And in high heels and having to cope with like the mountainous sidewalks. It's just that like clap, clap, clap up. And I'm like inappropriately using one of those like cigarettes on a stick kind of things, I just have one of those. And I'm like, oh dear. Are you talking about that poor girl?
Yes, Portia. And it's good to see it. And I give her a little wink. We've got a special relationship.
Oh no.
But I kind of cut my eyes at the sheriff too to make, keep everything on the down.
Evening, Portia. You here for the strudel?
No, that just goes straight to my thighs, and I look you up and down. Looks like it goes straight to your thighs too, Sheriff.
Oh, no. Straight to the belly for me.
Oh, Portia, yes. Be nice. He's out there trying to catch criminals.
Yes, well, if you could catch me a Kir Royale, I sure would appreciate it. Can't get a damn good one of those in this town.
Well, you certainly won't at this place.
I know. You have a strict no alcohol policy because it's a diner and there's truck drivers or something.
Only the customers, Portia.
Can I get a coffee out here? Is that possible?
Oh, sure. Same as always.
Yes.
Would you like me to add that little extra cream in there this time?
Goes straight to the thighs, doesn't that, Portia?
Everyone has their vices, and I like light my cigarette on a stick. What about it? What about it, Sheriff? You hot on the heels of whatever's happening around this town?
Oh yeah, always got to stay on top of things.
Mm. I know what you mean, and I like cut my eyes over to the diner waitress person. What's her name?
Dahlia.
Dahlia. I cut my eyes to Dahlia, and I say, "Yes, stay on top of things."
Dahlia looks at Portia and says, "I love that prim makeup you've got on there from Blade Runner. It really brings out all of your features."
What's Blade Runner?
Dahlia just rolls her eyes. Oh, of course, of course.
Yeah, and I wander over to my patrol car. I turn on turn on the radio to the music station. Just lean against the car, listening to the mellow classic tunes of AM 620.
All right, cut. We'll cut the scene there. That was great. All right, cool. So that's what a scene looks like. And you know, we hit all those marks. As you know, anybody who's listening in, I'm not going to do this every time, but you can see, you know, Portia had to say Kir Royale. Dahlia had strudel. Try the strudel way early. It was great. And then Sheriff eventually got to the radio there, and there was a little bit of discussion of Jessica somewhere in the middle. So those are the four things that have to happen, you know, in each scene, right? So now the director has another special role, and I'll float over to this other computer for a second here. There's these little tokens, right? Those tokens are kind of what's used to, those are called the moving forward and standing still tokens. And I get 3 of them, right? So whoever the director is for that scene gets to assign those tokens to these squares. Now, you always have to assign one of them, your choice, to the thread, to the scene, right? And our scene here was Fireworks Friday. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab these 3, and I'm going to make a copy of them. And I'm going to drag one of these tokens over to Fireworks Friday and put it on top of one of those little squares, right? So we've done this scene 1 time, and you're going to be able to do each scene 4 times. That's why it's got the 4 squares there, right? I personally chose standing still because I didn't think Fireworks Friday was like too big and important in the scene, but you do have to always give one of the tokens to the thread. That is non-negotiable, right? Then I've got these other 2 tokens to play with here. I have to assign one of them each to one of the characters. So in this case, I'm going to assign one of them to Dahlia over here. And you know what? Let's go ahead and assign one to, we'll do it to the sheriff. Well, you know what? Yeah, we'll do it to the sheriff. Now, you're always going to have to make some choice. Like, one character is not going to get a token. And that means that the next time our friend Portia here is in a scene, she will have to say the words Key Royale again, right? But you'll notice that if Dahlia is in a scene, right, she no longer says try the strudel. Instead, you go down to the next square on the card, right? So that's going to be kind of the case for all of these things. But my turn as director is over. And so now here, I'll go back into presentation mode here. So it's a little bit bigger. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the reins over to the next director, right? So we're all going to take turns, just like in The Final Girl or some other games like that. I'll just use the ordering that I've got for you guys down here at the bottom. So if I go kind of like clockwise, then David's next. So I'm going to make him the next director, and
cool.
You basically get to choose a thread and then assign roles, and we go from there.
Cool. What's the significance of the red square versus the black square?
You know, it comes up a little bit later at the end of the thing. Not too much. you know, sometimes you assign them because red is like, you only get one of them, right? So sometimes you put red on like the thing that somebody said that was really funny, or, oh, that character was really great in that scene. Sometimes you just throw them out there because you don't want to hear somebody say Q Royale another fucking time. And you just want to, you know, get rid of that square. So I don't know. Think of it what you will, but we'll talk about it at the end of the game as well.
All right. I think we're going to do government audit. And let's see. Tomer, we'll have you as Sheriff Gray. Patrick, we will have you as Werner Schmidt. And Stephen, we'll have you as Portia Ivory Wood. See how that plays out.
Okay, and now you chose the thread, which is government audit, right?
Yes.
Now, you have a little bit of flexibility here in the sense that, or flexibility or even responsibility, if you want to call it that, to still kind of set the scene, right? Just like in the Final Girl, like you can kind of, and you can do it as much or as little as you want, right? Normally, you're not telling us kind of like what to think or do so much, but you might put us in a compromising situation, or like in the case of government audit, like that could be anywhere in town, right? Like, are we at, you know, wherever? So you can play with that as well.
Right. So what I think is going on here is I think that Portia is having to show some like apartment property kinds of things that like her husband owns because her husband's not available, as he never is. And like he didn't even leave her the keys, so like the sheriff is there like having to unlock them, you know, with a lock picking kit or whatever he has, because I don't expect he has just like extra keys lying around. And then Werner Schmidt is the auditor of whatever variety from the government. Does that make sense?
That works for me. So, and then whenever you're ready, you basically just call action. And once you've seen that we've done all these things, you can call cut whenever you want. You don't have to call it immediately if you want to kind of like let the scene play out. There is one other thing, which is occasionally the director either might not see that somebody or hear that somebody's said one of these words, or maybe somebody's kind of forgotten to say them. So the more, like when I've played this game, that'll come up occasionally, is the director might be like, hey, did you know what I mean? And like come in and ask that question. That's fine too, if you feel like the scene's playing long and we all look kind of like, hey, I think we're done, and you're waiting on something. So feel free to jump in if you ever catch that.
Cool. Action.
Oh, Sheriff, thank you so much for stopping. I don't know what happened to the keys. My husband was supposed to give them to me, and oh, he is such a scatterbrain.
Right, likely story. Look, this is like the fourth time that I've had to come out for something like this. I mean, aren't there services that do this for you guys?
Could we please hurry this along, Sheriff? I'm a very busy man. I've been trying to get my campaign for the city council running this, this year.
Right. Well, I'll hurry it along as quickly as I can. And the sheriff kind of like has just slowly wandered out into the door, and now he's slowly wandering back to the vehicle, opening the trunk.
Schmidt just rolls his eyes and looks down at his like fancy European watch, just kind of tapping on it.
You hear like all these tools being thrown around in the back of the...
Miss Ivorywood, this would not be such an issue if you would just get your husband to, husband for you. This is
Oh, Werner. I know, but what can you do with such a man? He is not such an intelligent man as you. You know how much
please,
I love
please,
an intelligent man.
Miss Ivorywood, it is Mr. Schmidt. I am a housing inspector, and I demand respect. It is a highly laudable position, and I may one day be on the city council. So just
Oh yes.
formalities, please. It's a little less uncomfortable that way.
Oh dear. Don't tell me I have made you uncomfortable, my dear Werner. That is the last thing I wish to do.
And Sheriff Gray just kind of like walks in between them and kind of
must
pries
allow
them
me
apart.
by your Kir Royale later on. We must have a drink together and get to know each other so well. If you are going to be such a power in this town.
I would not drink that swill if it came in a platinum glass.
Spreads the two of them apart. Walks in between them to the door. He's got this like belt of all these random tools, and he's pulling stuff out that, you know, dropping things on the ground. Pulls out a thing of lipstick. Looks at it kind of weird and throws it over his shoulder, and then gets out the little kit and starts, fiddling with the door.
Oh
Been making the rounds. Been making the rounds, I see, Sheriff.
Well, I guess I'm a popular sort of guy, you know. You can see, obviously, when I'm not solving crime, I'm in high demand.
Yes, when you're in high demand for opening the doors for the lady here, like a common locksmith. Yes, you're very, very.
That's when he stops, and he kind of like lets go of the tools, looks over, and, you know, maybe like gets up and starts to walk back to the car.
Yeah.
Just leaves him in there.
Yeah, and
I can just condemn the building if that's easier for everyone. You know, I really have no one way or the other whether or not this house is inspected, and the repo men break the door down and take all the precious Kir Royale from Miss Ivorywood over here.
He turns around and walks back. And then right then on the little, you know, he's got his little like radio speaker thing on his shoulder, and you hear a little like, yeah, some over at the Jessica house. Yeah, we need you right away, Sheriff.
Oh, please, not this again. Over at the Ashwicks in that trailer park.
Well, it looks like I'll have to come back in a little bit. I've got this urgent call, you know. Sorry, guys. And I just leave the lock in there and everything. The door's still locked. Walk back to the car and just.
Oh, please, Sheriff! It will only take you a couple. Do not let this arrogant man put you. Sheriff, please, I'm begging you.
We can call it scene there.
Nice.
All right. So
I'll let you lead. I'll do the work in the background.
Yeah, so we advanced the government audit by 1. I think we've heard enough.
You can choose to use the red one for the government audit too, which just kind of makes you. It's basically you're saying it's kind of significant, right? I mean, again, at the end of the game, it'll make more sense, but.
I see. I think I'll leave it black. Let's see. I think we got that Benner Schmidt is running for city council, so we'll give him the black one there. And we'll give a red one to stop Portia from ever saying Kir Royale again. I want to see some more of the sheriff carrying lipstick, so.
Nice. All right, cool. So now we hand the reins over to Patrick. Patrick, you're going to be the director for this next scene.
Okay, I think situation should be leash laws. I guess that's kind of by default.
No, although you're saying it's by default, I mean, it's true. We can explore different things. You could do government audit again or fireworks Friday. The only one that we cannot explore yet is Jessica until each one has been explored at least once. So once you have one marker on each of the other three, you can then go and explore a Jessica scene, and we'll look at what that means.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just stick with the leash laws, just to kind of try something a little different. And for this one, let's have I gotta look at my tiny one. Let's have David as Lorena Bourdain, the gallery owner. Let's have. Do we have to have the sheriff in it every time, or is that just okay? Let's have Tom as Roberta Euchre, the newspaper owner, and Stephen. Let's have you be Werner Schmidt. As far as leash laws are concerned, it's this could be like maybe like at a city council meeting or something, and one Werner and maybe Roberta are like kind of at odds with each other on the subject, and maybe Lorena has something to do with like, specific incident regarding a dog, if that's vague enough. All right.
That works.
Action.
So I think that I have like a big easel, and it has a covering over the top of it. And I'm looking at the newspaper woman, and I'm looking at the inspector. I'm just like, I thought this meeting was about my new work and the gallery having a grand reopening. Is that not what this is about? You're really playing with my artist's process here.
Not everything is about you, Lorena. You and your art.
We have a lot of topics to get through tonight. And I mean, we carried over this business about the leash laws from the last meeting. We cannot carry it over again. We really have to. This is a very important subject.
Except it really isn't. Okay. How many dogs are there even in this town? You could probably count them on one hand. So
there are at least 3 dozen dogs in this town, Lorena, and
God, just make it.
They need to be on. They need to be on leashes. We need a pooper scooper law. I mean, this town is getting bigger. We cannot keep doing things the way we've always been doing them.
Werner, a question from the Times. This town has been known for its no leash policy for 300 years.
How is the town known for a no leash policy?
How is the town 300 years old?
It's on the sign when you drive into town.
For about 100 years. This town was founded about 100 years ago. Roberta, what are you talking? Are you getting your facts from Wikipedia again?
Alt news. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, go fiddle with your pencil collection and look. These laws are an important part of what makes this city livable. And I mean, if we are going to attract a prosperous retirement community, which is the centerpiece of my redevelopment proposal, this is why I am running for city council. We need to attract new residents, and this is the perfect retirement community.
Is that really the reason you're running for city council? I've heard you are inheriting a retirement empire from your father, and you're just trying to spread a little bit of your own wealth here. Is this what's good for our community and our dogs?
Roberta, I will fully financially disclose all of my conflicts of interest, but there is no conflict in trying to make, what is the name of this town again? Northern Falls, something like that. There is no conflict of interest in trying to create business-friendly policy for Northern Falls. What helps us develop the community, that's good for everybody, Roberta. And your rag of a paper will not be able to fool. You cannot slant the story to fool people. People here are
rag of a paper. Go on. Sorry, I missed that last part.
I said the people are too smart to fall for your sleazy tricks.
You know, Roberta.
And yet there is this one missing a letter that was, I believe it was, no, oh, here it is. It was written to me by Jessica Ashwick. Yes, I'm sorry, the same. She wrote not a few weeks ago expounding against any kind of restrictions on dogs and their ability to roam our environs.
You know, probably the best part about Jessica Ashwick was how quiet she was. The fact that she wrote a letter kind of undoes that. So maybe we disregard it. And Roberta, if you want to have a hard-hitting journalist piece, the prospective mayor, the candidate, claims that leash laws are good for business owners. I'm a small business owner about to have a grand reopening, and I don't mind if dogs wander around my gallery unleashed.
Can I quote you?
You can quote me as long as you say that the grand reopening is about to happen with our post-structuralism pieces all over.
Scene. That was good.
All right.
All right. So I think I want to put the red X on the leash law. And then let's give the two X's or the two circles to Schmidt and Roberta. I don't need to hear about the pencil collection anymore.
Cool. Let me put this back in that display mode. I think it's a little bit easier to read, barely. Cool. So our next director is Steven.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, just real quick, my name is Tomer. Tom is my persona that I use for that other screen.
Sorry about that, man.
No, that's okay. I mean, I don't mind if it's pronounced different ways. Tomer, Tomar, Tumer. I've heard 1,000 different things. Tamir, but I don't really do Tom. So, but you know, it's confusing because it says Tom down there.
Okay. Well, we haven't done anything with Gail Fenimore yet, so I'll sign her to David. And let's see. Then we haven't done anything with Ivan Kozlov either, so I'll give him to Patrick. And let's give the Reina to Tomer, and let's do leash laws again.
All right. So we're doing another leash laws, right?
Right. Right. So it's the gallery opening, and Ivan has come with his unleashed dog.
Sorry. Can you just repeat that? I accidentally, I think I hit a mute button or something, so I didn't catch the scene part.
It is the gallery opening, the grand opening, and Ivan has come with an unleashed dog.
Nice.
Lorena, it is so good to be seeing you. And we do one of those like European kind of cheek kisses on each side. Thank you so much for freeing this dog of mine, this Trotsky, this strong, grotesque, husky dog. And he's just, very friendly little boy, just kind of wagging his tail. Very well behaved.
Oh, good dog, good dog. Whoa, whoa. And she almost gets knocked over by this thing. Oh, I'm so glad you could make it, but more importantly, I'm glad the dog could make it. This art show is it's art for dogs.
Pleased to be showing me your latest works. I was very excited upon hearing about this gallery.
Well, the first piece is right here, and she points down, and there's like, some weird looking. I mean, it's obviously a fire hydrant, but it's like, 5 feet tall, and it's painted in all sorts of different colors. I don't know anything about post-structuralism. What is that like?
Ivan just throws his hands in the air and like falls to his knees dramatically, like, it is the very soul of art. I must have it for Pieter's imports. It will be the next big thing the coming art season.
You just hear like, after that like exclamation, it's just stunned silence, and then you hear a smack, 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 pop, and turn to see this high school sweetheart just chewing bubblegum. And she's got her little dog, this little chihuahua, unleashed. And it's a terror. You can tell because it's just like shaking in her hands, and she just sets it on the ground. And it's like, well, they told me to come down here for the high school yearbook to take some pictures. I don't see what all the fuss is about.
Ugh, isn't this the typical American teenager? No foresight, too busy playing on social medias, popping the bubble gum, and carrying around rats. This is not how it is done in the homeland.
Now, we have enough land here to be fair and equal to all dogs of all shapes and sizes. This is a free country.
At this point, the little terror starts chasing like this bear of a dog, like nipping at its heels around the art gallery, like just snarling and snapping.
And I'm just kind of like lazily holding a camera. It's one of those old cameras with a big flash bulb. I'm just like, you mind if I take some pictures?
Of course. I do have some things for sale, of course, and there's a little rack with postcards, and then there's like a bunch of different art pieces. But she's like, but if you can't afford any of that, I mean, you could take some photos. And she's pointing very directly at like a tip jar.
Yeah, and I just like snap a picture of you, and just like blinding light that comes out, and then I'm just like keep chewing. I'm like, I really don't know what I'm doing here. All right, Jessica was supposed to do this. All right, and now the role has fallen upon me.
I do wish that girl was still here. She was the pride of this town as far as a meek, quiet girl, just like they are back in the homeland.
All right, whatever, Red Charlie, or whatever your name is. You might have to get a picture of you with your savage next to the art.
So certainly, he's like taken aback, like clearly flustered. Like he doesn't often have people talk back to him like this because he's just so wealthy in his investments. He tries to gather the dog, but he's just completely out of sorts. Like, could you please wrangle this beast you have?
And I'm just like, yeah, come on. Just like, hey, sneakers, hey, sneakers, not paying attention to me at all. And then I finally just have to like reach in my pocket and like pull out like a dog treat, and the dog just like stops and sits. I'm like, there you go.
And Trotsky's just like, whimpering. He comes over, and I just, kind of stroking his large head. And it is okay. It is all right. We will get you your security blanket at home.
I pick up my dog and like snap another picture, and I'm like, well, that's probably enough for the yearbook, if I'm being honest. I don't even know if these will go in.
Lorena does walk over to, is standing there next to Ivan, and is like, I do know what you mean, though. She was my best student. She definitely knew how to work with those themes of rejection and the self-sufficiency of the structures that structuralism posits, an interrogation of the binary oppositions that constitute those structures.
Preach. If there was anyone who understood what post-structuralism was, it
was
was
Jessica.
It may have only been Jessica.
Yes.
Okay, Patrick, have you done your character's line yet? I don't think. Have you mentioned Piotr's imports at all?
Yes, I did. I mentioned that as like the art, like collector or something.
Okay, good. Scene.
All right. Cool.
Okay, so let's see. Let's give the red one to high school yearbook.
Yeah.
And that means a black one on leash laws. And let's put one on post-structuralism.
Had to do a quick wiki lookup of that one.
Yeah,
Still don't know anything about it.
I had to look at what a Kir Royale was. I was like, I don't know what that means.
What is a Kir Royale?
It's a kind of mixed cocktail.
Doesn't it have like some Russian liqueur in there or something?
Maybe. I saw it was a cocktail and I was like, got it.
All right. Cool. So again.
So we're back. We're back around to the end of the circle. You mind if we take a quick break?
Yeah. No, that's a good call. So why don't we go ahead and take a quick break? We'll be back in. Do we just need 5, or does anyone need more time than that?
No, the 5's good with me.
5's good.
Do it. All right, cool. Everyone's getting back. Does anyone need more time?
Nope.
All right. All right, so this is probably a good time then to explore a Jessica Ashwick scene. So Jessica Ashwick scenes are kind of similar to the other ones, only in that, or they're different in that, you know, they just involve something to do with Jessica, and it could be kind of anything. So, you know, as one example, it could be, you know, a scene yard next to her tombstone, or it could be in front of her childhood home, or you know, it could be kind of like anything involving her, right, in some fashion. So there's a lot more flexibility there, right? So let's go ahead and do one of those. Let's see who we've got here. Okay. I think this will be a scene that definitely has Lorena in it. And I think the way it's going to involve Jessica is because the gallery is doing kind of like a, you know, a showing of Jessica's work, right? All of Jessica's recent work, whatever that is, right? So we've got Lorena in the scene. I'm gonna say let's have both Sheriff Gray and Ivan in there as well. So I'm gonna have let's see. David is going to be playing Ivan. Although Patrick, you were a great Ivan. It's always fun to throw it around and see what other people come up with.
Hey, thanks.
Patrick, you're going to be Sheriff Gray. And Stephen will be playing Lorena. And it's I think it's evening. This is, I guess it's, you know, the you know, there's a sign there which says something about, you know, Jessica's you know, final works or something like that. And yeah, I'll let you guys flavor any other set dressing how you want. Action.
Ivan's staring at the deconstructed, gigantic fire hydrant, and he's just like stroking his beard. Magnificent.
Sheriff Gray walks up and kind of cocks his head and says, "Well, I guess somebody likes it."
I just purchased this.
And it was an excellent investment. Works by dead artists always go up in value. And
the Jessica girl, this was her work?
It was. And I am ashamed to say that I had never shown any of her work in her gallery before her death, but as soon as I heard of the poor girl's murder, I immediately went to her mother. I purchased all of her entire oeuvre, and this, I mean, this is not just Jessica's opening night. This is Jessica's final opening night. This is the ultimate opening night. The opening night 2. I think it is just the finest tribute anyone could offer to this poor girl.
Opening night 2. I do not understand this.
Sheriff Gray nods and says, "You know,
it's like opening night 1, but twice as great. This It isn't opening night 3. I have never had an opening night 3 before, but if ever there was one, this is it.
Sheriff Gray nods. He says, her family really appreciates this. I know that they've fallen on some hard times before, but I think this one takes the cake. Oh, by the way, Lorraine, I think you dropped this. And he pulls out a lipstick tube and hands it to her. It's deep black shade.
Is this Jessica Ashwick's lipstick? Have you given to me?
I just assumed it was yours. I found it on the ground over there next to a sign saying, what is that? Post-structuralist interpretation. And I may be confused. As far as I know, it's part of the art.
Oh yes, this is mine. This is worthless. But thank you anyway. If this had been Jessica Ashwick's artwork, it would be priceless. The last lipstick of Jessica Ashwick.
Look at it, lawman. Redirecting you towards the giant fire hydrant. Is not magnificent. When I see it just so, it reminds me of like a cell phone. Like an old Russian cell phone.
Oh yeah, like one of those commie bricks you see in the old 80s films. Yeah, I think, but I agree with you, Ivan. It is not great. It is not.
It's the best.
The sheriff kind of recovers. He doesn't pick up on the idioms that quickly, and so he just goes, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Try not to be disrespectful, but still just completely doesn't know art at all.
You are a simple man, lawman. I will not fault you for this.
We can cut it there. So one thing with Ivan is he was supposed to say Peter's imports again. Peter's.
Oh, I thought that was clicked off already. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. But like I kind of like how you put our cell phones in there. But yeah, that's good. All right, so let me jump back over here. We're gonna have to hear about archaic cell phones again, though. Sheriff Gray. Had a bunch of lipstick. I guess we're gonna have to hear about opening night 2 again.
This is opening night 2. This is
2.
As in better because it's a sequel.
All right, so directorship goes to David.
Cool. Let's get back to Firework Friday. And let's see. I think that Dahlia is a staple of Firework Friday, so I'm going to put her right back in there. And we're going to put Gail in there. And then Schmidt will be in there. And the scene is thus. They are outside of the diner where Schmidt is giving like some kind of a speech or trying to, but like people keep shooting fireworks a little too close and it keeps disrupting him like right in the middle of his speech. So he's given up on the thing and is just going to like hobnob, you know, with townsfolk instead because his speech is completely ineffective. So we will have Stephen as Schmidt, Patrick will be returning in his role as Dahlia, and then Tamara will be Gale. All good. We'll go with action.
Hey Dahlia, can you grab me a hamburger, extra ketchup, no mustard, 2 pickles?
You got it, Shug. Gail, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just here with that guy over there.
That the
He's
man?
like some big dude who works at the restaurant.
Is that Artist
Everyone
Manley?
recognizes him. Oh, I guess so. He just said his name was Art.
He works here. He came up with the brilliant idea that we have visitors from out of town bring a postcard from their house. They call it the wall of postcards. Isn't that original?
I guess that's original. I mean, I think it's kind of a look. He said he was going to take me on a date and buy me some food, and now you're telling me he works here. I don't know. I think that's a little
well, of course. I mean,
a little lowbrow, isn't it?
He gets an employee discount. He's frugal.
How much of a discount does he get?
Well, I'm not at liberty to discuss the nuances of the employment contracts, but I can tell you that we do still sell the best strudel in town.
All right, give me one of the strudel.
Okay. 1 second, Sugar. I have to get Mr. Werner's burger really quick. And what was that? Extra mustard?
No mustard, extra ketchup, 2 pickles.
Okay, all right.
Say, didn't Art Manley date Jessica Ashwick before she got killed?
Dahlia's gone back to the kitchen and is preparing some of the food.
What are you trying to say?
No, nothing. I'm just, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird to go out with some guy whose girlfriend just got killed. It seems like he wouldn't be dating for a while.
Are you calling me a slut?
No.
Dahlia
I'm just
comes back.
Kind of weird. I'm just saying that it's kind of weird that he's on the dating scene already. I think he'd be grieving.
Dahlia comes back with a strudel with extra mustard on it and a hamburger smeared with raspberry jelly, and hands the burger to Werner and the strudel to Gail. I don't know what you kids are putting on these things these days, but I guess that's the youth.
We can call the scene there. I think we hit everything there.
All right.
All right. Yeah, probably a black box on the fireworks. It's really not seeming very important. I want to hear some more No More Mustard. And we'll go with black on the wall of postcards. Red on dating, because that seemed kind of important.
All right. Patrick, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to say we go back to government audit. This time, let's go Stephen as Portia. Let's go David as Roberta. And Tamar as Sheriff Gray. And this is we're back at the rental house that was under inspection before, and there's like a big condemned sign on the front. And this is like a nice house, or it's a fairly well recognized property that may have had like some sort of historical significance that is noteworthy. And action.
Sheriff, I cannot believe you you ran off like that just for what was the Jessica Ashwick case? I mean, now look at this. You didn't let us into the house. It's condemned now. It is going to take me. It's going to be such a bother getting this paperwork cleared up. I am, if I am going to talk to I am going to talk to Werner Schmidt. I am going to give money to his campaign, and I am going to have him make life so miserable for you once he is elected. I'm telling you.
How are you going to do that? There's nobody else who's going to take this job. Look, I don't even know what you're complaining about. This house hasn't looked this good in years.
It's condemned.
So let me get
you, because you wouldn't let the housing inspector inside.
Now hold on just a second there. Did I leave my keys at home?
Sheriff, you are a public servant. That means you're supposed to serve the public. I am the public. I mean, me and my lady friends. I mean, this is where we hold the meetings of the Society of Ladybirds. What will we do? Where will we hold the meetings if this house gets torn down? Do you want to have a whole bunch of ladybirds just with no place to meet, just wandering the streets? Is that your vision for this town?
I don't know. The gazebo's free.
A gazebo. He wants us to hold our meetings in a gazebo.
So let me get this straight, Portia. You're telling me that the sheriff was supposed to unlock this.
Yes.
He didn't unlock it because he had to investigate something with the Ashwick case. And since he didn't unlock it, now it's condemned.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's a clear case of professional negligence.
So in a way, it's like Ashwick, like Jessica is tearing down your house from the grave.
It is just like the girl.
That is going to be a killer headline. Way better than the jilted love story of Schmidt and Dahlia. Way better than that. Well, can I get some quotes from the two of you? Sheriff Gray, anything to say for this extreme dereliction of duty?
Dereliction of duty. Now, I think you've gone way overboard here. Look, I don't have time to go around town, helping with every little silly thing that these people do. Give little punk kids self-esteem pep talks and chase little chihuahua rats. I've got important things to do. You know what? You go ahead. You go and vote that Werner guy into office. And you try to see if anyone will take this job. I'm doing the best that anybody's ever done here, and you won't find anybody nearly up to the task.
And Sheriff Gray says that it was a, quote, dereliction of duty, end quote, that the children of the town are, quote, punks, end quote, and that he is not, quote, up to the task, end quote. Got it. Anything from you?
And he endorsed Werner Schmidt for office. I heard that. He said he should get...
That's not newsworthy. What about you, Portia? You got any quotes for me?
I am just so sad and so bereaved that the beloved Society of Ladybirds may be without a home as a result of the sheriff's actions.
Okay, I'm gonna call a scene there. That was good.
Scene there, and I think Sheriff Gray's like peeling out from the curb.
Okay. I would like the red to go on the jilted lover. I think that was kind of important with the newspaper angle. And then a black circle on government audit and one on self-esteem pep talk.
All right. Stephen, you're the director now.
Okay. Let's see.
And just to, I'll point out that the Jessica Ashwick scene thing is free for the
Right.
taking because we have 2 in the other ones, right?
Right. Okay. Let's see. David, I'll give you Portia, and Patrick can have Ivan. And I will point out from the sheet that they are having the 2 of them are having an affair. So we haven't done it. We haven't done anything with that yet. I just wanted to get those 2 in a scene together. And let's have Tomer do Werner Schmidt. And let's see. Yes, let's do government audit again. I mean, let's say Portia has recruited Ivan to get the site uncondemned. And action.
Sweetheart, I came as soon as you called. And he holds up his large, radiant cell phone that is clearly like much, much hotter than anything should be that you put next to your head like that.
Like, shh. Enough of that sweetheart talk, okay? Got to keep it quiet. I'm still a kept woman, all right?
But you know that in my homeland, we are a robust people who always wear their emotions on their long, fur-dangled sleeves.
And I put my hand on your chest, and I'm like, I thought the Russians were supposed to be a stoic people. I kind of say that as an aside.
I am a Chechenian. We are not the same.
Look, I like you for your long, dangling, fur-covered sleeves. But I need you to play this cool, all right? Thank you for coming.
Cool is the only way I play it, baby.
You can't call me baby in front of everyone.
That's when Werner, you can see him pulling up at the curb, comes out of his car, and comes walking up.
Oh, thank goodness. Look at this, Mr. Schmidt. Look at this.
Yes?
Atrocity. The inspector just condemned the place. He didn't even look at it. He couldn't even get inside.
Well, why didn't you let him in?
Come, my good man, we both know that this will get us nowhere. Please, just tell me what you need to save this historic piece of art. And he points at it, and there's like a shingle like falling off the side of the roof, and it's clearly like it's seen better days. Like it's seen better days.
There's nothing I can do here. No mustard.
What? What is that? Oh shit! You're the one who.
It is very common European expression, sweetheart. It does not translate as well in English as it means in the mother European tongues.
But we do know what translates well, do we not?
Ah, yes, the true language. And is it not correct that you are running for office?
Oh shit! You're the same inspector that was here before, aren't you?
I am.
God, you all look the same. Sorry. Look, I've got the keys this time. I've got the keys. Would you just take a look at the inside, see that it's structurally sound, and that way and the Society of Ladybirds can get right back to our ladybirding.
Time is money. Time is money. I have places to be.
Look, if you
But
want to run for mayor, like, don't you have to have some kind of accountability for this? I mean, you're not solving any murders or anything, clearly, so you
Ah,
might as well be.
it's so good you brought up the word account. Yes, I am running for mayor and I do have an account.
is it not also to your detriment to, how do you say, parade around the corpse of a Jessica Ashwick for your political gains? Could we not work this out some other way?
I don't know. You speak very interesting for someone who parades in a different manner, and he gives kind of like a little wide-eyed toward Portia.
Ah, I see. I see.
Hmm?
Perhaps
Hmm?
we can work out some form of arrangement wherein the ladybirds have a place to, and he looks kind of down at himself, alight, and you have a place to garnish a platform. What do you say?
Now that sounds like a deal. Yes.
Let's see. Okay, so um, let's put the red on government audit and black ones on Society of Ladybirds and archaic cell phones. And we're just never going to get rid of the mustard.
No, it's too good.
I want it to come out in an even more inappropriate context.
All right. I'll leave the Jessica Ashwick. I'll make you guys work with those. But it has been a while since we've worked with the leash laws, right? So yeah, let's get back to leash laws. We're gonna have Gail in the scene. And she secretly likes Sheriff Gray, huh? Okay, well, let's see where this goes. So Roberta's also going to be in the scene as well. So those three down at the bottom. I think so Roberta is there with her. I think she's looking for Gail. She wants to do an expose on, so maybe she's been trying to find Gail for a while and has finally tracked her down. This will be in the town square kind of thing. And meanwhile, we see Sheriff Gray in the background chasing down somebody's dog, right? So it'll be the three of them. I'm not sure what Gail's up to. You guys can figure that out. So who's playing who? I'm gonna have David. You'll play Sheriff Gray. Patrick, you're going to play Gail. And then you will play the newspaper owner, Roberta Euchre.
Okay.
And action.
Sheriff, don't you hurt my sweet baby boy. Sneakers, get out of the street. Come to mommy.
Oh my God, your dog is a terror and faster than you would think.
Well, that's how I like him. That's why I'm dating Donovan Wood. Am I right?
Oh God, faster than you think and a real piece of shit. That sounds like a safe combination.
Well, not all the men here are like that. Kind of, tilts her shades down a little bit and looks him up and down.
Yes. I've been meaning to talk to you about that, Gail. It's not only men that you're dating, is it?
Gail kind of turns on her heels.
You've been fooling around with the Raina Bourdain, haven't you? That money on heels gallery owner downtown.
Are
Isn't
you
that
kidding
right?
me? I had to go down to that gag show and watch all of this garbage get touted as if it were some kind of Picasso, whatever.
Oh, methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Methinks this lady is about to slap someone.
Sheriff, you aren't going to this trollop threaten a member of the Fourth Estate, are you?
I come walking over. I've managed to capture the dog, and I like have a leash on it now. And I'm like, maybe that no leash thing was a bad idea. What? What are you talking about? You gonna are you gonna let a little girl slap you? That's on you.
Just hand me my dog, okay? I've had to deal with enough females of this variety, if you know what I'm saying, Sheriff.
Bitches?
And she gasps. Gail gasps audibly.
What are you guys talking about?
She thinks that I have feelings for Lorena. The only feelings I have are feelings of revulsion for her terrible, terrible taste in art.
I think I know what you mean, but I'm not sure that Russian guy was really insistent that that art was great, and he seemed like he might know what he was talking about.
Well, you know the Russians. They have terrible taste in just about everything.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Listen, I know that we have a no leash policy right now, but if you wouldn't mind keeping this little not bitch on a leash, I'd appreciate it.
Gail gasps again when you say bitch, but then she kind of looks over at the sheriff and says, "Anything for you."
If only all the citizens were that way.
By the way, my birthday's coming up, being 18.
Okay.
She's like twirling her hair and pops the bubble gum again.
Yeah, that's something. Roberta, is everything all right here?
Oh, everything is just fine. This is going to be the biggest story since... What was the last big story, Sheriff? Was it the toilet paper? The two teenagers toilet papering houses? This is going to be the biggest story since you arrested those two kids for toilet papering houses.
The biggest story was probably that poor girl getting killed, all right? And it's just shocking to me that you still forget about that all the time.
Oh my God, for real. Like, I mean, Jessica Ashwick was just here. You know? I mean, show a little respect, principled press.
Yeah, and I'm not doing any more exposés either on it.
Look. Toilet papering houses, everybody wants to read about that. That's news that people can use.
The only toilet paper is your rag of a newspaper. Am I right? Looks at the sheriff, kind of, you know, sick burn, like, you know, doesn't put her hand up because she's too dignified, but basically, you know, going for that.
And I'm like, I just kind of laugh, and I kind of like, you know, like bump your shoulder with my fist. I'm like, you're all right, you know, you're all right.
Gail blushes, like clearly flustered.
Quick question: has Sheriff already done the safe combination thing?
I did. I used it in a different context.
Yeah, no, that's cool. All right, then we'll cut the scene there. Cool. What was the safe combination? I missed it.
She was talking about her boyfriend and like how fast he was or something like that, and then like something else about him, and I was like, oh yeah, this and that. That sounds like a safe combination.
Nice. All right, awesome.
You're muted.
Thanks for that. I like the dating trend. I'll throw another red one there. All right. Yeah, let's, who else did we have? We still have money and heals. Let's go ahead and do that. And then we did leash laws. All right. So I'll pass it over to David.
Cool. We're going to do a Jessica scene. And let me get a look at the board real quick. Lorraine gets to try and begin with opening night 2. Yeah, that's got to happen in this Jessica scene. Yeah, Lorraine, Schmidt, and Dahlia. All right. So those are all next to each other. So we see shares a drink with patron and buy, well, that, yeah, buys weed, it's not relevant, but shares a drink and patron. So I think it's just really late at night and the diner's open. Dahlia's running the diner. And for some reason, Lorraine can't sleep and Werner can't sleep. So they have met at the diner. And I think Dahlia, it's so quiet. Like, for some reason, Dahlia still runs this as a 24-hour diner, even though there's never 24-hour activity. So every night or some nights, you know, when it's particularly dead and boring, she will open a bottle of something and share it around with the patrons if they would like to have some. And yeah, I think that, like, it's one of those, you know, late night talks where they're just kind of talking about the state of the town and things like that. So I will have Tomer as Lorena. I will have Stephen as Dahlia and Patrick as Werner Schmidt. Action.
Okay, kids, what can I get for you? Yeah, this is on the house.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dahlia, you spoil us. This isn't because I'm running for political office, is it? Kind of like awkwardly laughs, like he knows it's not funny, but he's not very good at like connecting with the people, so he just sort of puts that out there.
Huh. Well, what do you have? What's your favorite drink?
Oof. Do you have any of that Hefeweizen left over from the New Year's Eve bash? No, do you remember anything from that nice? What is the American word?
Like a hamburger?
No, it's that great beer that you keep on reserve under these, you know, in your special cabinet.
The Michelob?
Das ist Stefan, yes.
Okay. You want regular or light?
I brought my own Stein, so whatever will fit in this. He doesn't get that regular and light aren't like units of measure. He thinks that you mean like heavy or like as an amount.
Okay, sweetheart. I'll grab you a bottle.
So look, honey, they're not used to our more refined tastes here, but you know, let's talk about the next stage. I
yes.
call it opening night 2-2.
They will never see it coming. It nothing has ever been like this before.
Definitely not. What I haven't told anybody. She looks around She whispers over, I have more of her work.
Jawohl.
I didn't just go and buy it all from her parents when they weren't around. I went into the attic and I took more. I thought she was smart before, but she's an artistic genius.
Ooh. Well, I guess you would know. Yes. How is that? How is that beer coming along, Dahlia?
Right here, sweetheart. I put the beer on the table. You talking about that dead pigeon's artwork?
Ah, well, I suppose that is one way of referring to her, but let us all have a toast in memory of her artistic genius. All right, as they say in Great Europe, no mustard, and just downs the whole
mustard,
the whole stein in one gulp.
No mustard.
And we can wrap that scene up right there. Wow.
Oh, that was so good.
Not at all what I imagined would happen. Oh. All right. That was I think that's about as much mileage we're gonna get out of no mustard. I think that was about the height. So we'll go ahead and put a black one on no mustard. Man, what a use of dead pigeon. That was kind of messed up.
That was great.
Oh my god. But I'm not going to box that one off yet. We'll try again for that one. We'll box off opening night 2 with a black one. And then on Jessica, we'll put the red.
All right, cool. Patrick's up.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Fireworks Friday, and this will be Dahlia, Ivan, and let's go Lorena again. And for this one, let's have David be Dahlia, Stephen be Lorena, and Tamar be Ivan. And this is like, I mean, I guess it's all the same Fireworks Friday. You know, like Ivan, this is like Ivan's first time at the restaurant. Like this is after the show, and Lorena's taking him there as like, you know, the hot spot. You know, like, you know, he wants to sample the local cuisine, and you know, Dahlia's just working. So, action.
Oh, your sign, so clever. And he's like holding the flyer, and it says like opening night 2, and the other 2 is like squared or something.
Thank you, darling. It is genius. This murder is the best thing that has ever happened to this town, I tell you.
Oh, no, not so loud. People may think it's in the bad taste.
Yes. But even so.
Something I can get for you folks? Oh. Hey there.
Yeah, I will have the strudel and no mustard.
What? You're gonna have to speak up. I can't hear. I've been temporarily deafened by the fireworks.
The strudel.
Gotcha, strudel. And for you, sir?
Well, I will have one of the sisters' teardrops.
The what?
The sisters' teardrops.
I can't be hearing you right. Did he say teardrops?
Are you insulting my English? He's pointing up at the menu. The sisters' teardrops.
Like, look up at the menu, and I'm like, what's he pointing at? What even remotely resembles the words "sisters' teardrops" on my menu?
I'm gonna guess he's pointing at like Stan's deer chops or something.
Stan's deer chops. Ah, deer chops. Got it.
Yes, what I said, that one.
All right, sure, no problem. And like I call over my shoulder to the kitchen. I'm like,
They say I have a problem with English.
I'm gonna need a roadkill special and one dead pigeon, no mustard.
These latest works I got from the attic. I mean, even as a small child, working with crayon and coloring books, genius, absolute genius. I mean, it evokes Arlo's use of colors and Picasso's an anatomical genius, and the freedom with which the post-structuralist society interprets the radicalism of Marxist ideology. This girl, I tell you,
Wait. Slow down. Don't, with the M word. It gives me indigestion every time I hear it.
oh, I am so sorry. I did not mean Marxism as in your country. This is a term we use in the United States to refer to the works of the great vaudeville artists Groucho, Harpo, and Chico. It is very radical entertainers that revolutionized the film and radio industries.
Speaking of revolution, I come out like with two trays of food. I slide one down in front of each of you. One's got a strudel, and it has a sparkler sticking out of it that is lit, and the other is like a meatloaf that has a sparkler sticking out of it and is lit. I'm like, here on Fridays, we're trying to get in the perpetual 4th of July that is Friday in Northern Falls. Happy Fireworks Friday.
I love this country.
I don't know what else to do.
I call scene, but I didn't know if y'all had mentioned Jessica Ashwick yet.
Yeah, we were talking about her artwork.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Scene.
Implied.
All right, I got it. All right. Great job. Okay. Well, let's put one of the black ones on Fireworks Friday. Let's put one on Arlo's use of color.
Where's that one? There we go. All right.
Let's put the red one on Sister's teardrops. That was a nice little back and forth.
All right, cool. All right.
Still got to say dead pigeon.
Steven, you're up. And we've been actually distributing the roles around a good amount, which is, that's normal. But you'll notice, I'm just going to bring this up right now. You'll notice as people get toward the bottom, they no longer are responsible for saying something. Instead, it says the word secret, right? So when that comes up, instead of having to say a specific word, you have to reveal some kind of big secret. It could be anything you see. So that's on the horizon. We can kind of see for a couple of these characters. But yeah, Steven, you're up.
Okay, well, let's do a Jessica Ashwick scene. And I think let's put... okay, Tomer, you can be Gail Fenimore. And David can be Sheriff Gray. And Patrick, you can be Dahlia. Okay, so it's down at the diner. Sheriff Gray is in a booth talking to Gail Fenimore. Action.
All right. So, Gail, we've been at this for a while now. I really need to know if you know the safe combination to Jessica's locker. We haven't been able to get it open, and I've lost my bolt cutters.
I don't know why you think I would have the safe combination. And she like passes over like, you know, it's a piece of paper ripped out from like a high school notebook, all these lines, and it's got all these people's names and all these locker combinations on it, right? But she just kind of like slides it over. She's like, of course I don't have the combination to anyone's locker.
Jesus.
She points up at the camera in the corner.
Jesus Christ, why do you have all these people's locker combinations?
Like I said, none of the combinations.
Dahlia comes over with 2 plates of strudel covered in just like soaked with mustard, and 2 lit sparklers coming out, but tears are just running down her face, and she's like audibly sobbing. And I just finally put 2 and 2 together. That beautiful baby, Jessica Ashwick, is no more. And
what?
And I saw a picture in the paper. She looked beautiful, like a little dead pigeon, or something poetic. And she just puts them down and grieves off back to behind the back into the kitchen, audibly sobbing.
What on God's green earth did she mean 2 and 2 together? That's the only 1 and 1 there ever was. Dead Jessica Ashwick and dead Jessica Ashwick.
Like, I didn't hear anything she said over the mustard.
Oh my God. Why are there sparklers? It's not Friday.
like loud wailing and sobbing, and you can see all of this smoke come out.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, let's put a black on safe combination. And let's see, a black on surveillance camera and a red on Jessica Ashwick.
All right. Cool. Quick question. Do we need another short break, or how's everyone doing?
Yeah, I could use just like 2-3 minutes.
I've got a small bladder.
Okay.
I don't mind the 2-minute break.
All right.
All right, cool. All right, we'll be right back. How's it going so far, Patrick? Surviving?
Yeah, man, this is really, really fun.
You are natural.
Thanks. I took a little improv in college.
Yeah, some of the games, the Gauntlet runs a pretty big variety of stuff, but it always leans quite a bit toward like the more narrative, less like mechanically intense game. Like things like D&D. Like D&D is kind of like leans a little more toward like a lot of mechanical mathy things and a little bit, depending on who you're playing with, but a little bit
Right.
less of the,
It's the technical stuff can be like a hindrance sometimes, I think, narratively, because people have to roll initiative and all that stuff. That's
Right.
fine in certain groups, but I don't think it necessarily translates as well as something a little more simple to like this sort of medium for sure. But yeah, I mean, this I
Yep.
picked up on the rules pretty quick, and it's fun, man. It's really fun.
Yeah. Cool. All right, and when David gets back, we'll have basically, as you guys can see up at the top there's only 4 scenes left, right? So we can kind of see there's a countdown going on here, right? As soon as all the threads on the top are full, then we're kind of at the end of the game, right? And then we're going to figure out kind of like how it ends, right? Not all the characters are going to get filled up, though. So it's going to depend always a little bit on what people are interested in, right? Like sometimes people are more interested in certain characters than others. And so certain ones will be explored more, or they've been given the tokens faster, right? And that's by design. Yeah, so we should definitely be done, in probably like 45 minutes or something, I'm guessing.
Is there like a second stage once we get all the tracks filled in that it kind of proceeds to, or is it?
We do kind of like an epilogue. So in some of these games, instead of it just like ending full stop, we have a little bit of a, all right, what do we think is going to happen next? Or, what does your character do? Like in some of these games, it might be like, where do we see your character, a year later or that kind of thing. So you get a little bit of closure. This game has a very specific kind of like end game phase. So when we're done filling up all the tracks, then we'll talk about, kind of what it means and, who the murderer is. And then we'll figure out, it's still kind of epilogue. Like we'll discuss what we think it means. Like there is no, narratively, there isn't a specific ending. It's kind of up to us to make that ending make sense or whatever.
Cool.
So there is while we're waiting for David, there is this is the first version that the guy came out with. The D&D one, I was able to play test. It's almost 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago. But in that one, it's basically like a bunch of D&D adventurers. Instead of these characters, you would have like, the fighter magic user or the 2 scimitars or whatever, like just a bunch of stupid D&D tropes. Mm-hmm. And you're basically a bunch of characters in like the pub, and then instead of Jessica Ashwick, there's the Dungeon of Doom, which is kind of like the big place that no one's really all that keen on going. They just talk about going there, and then you've got like a bunch of other things, missing oxen or kobold caves.
All right.
Cool.
We really need to get to that Death Frost Doom already.
Exactly that.
That Devon Coup Colt. Maybe tomorrow.
Cool. So we've got 4 more scenes, as I was saying, because there's only 4 little slots left up at the top there. And the last one will be Jessica Ashwick when we fill up the other 3. We've been doing a lot of Fireworks Fridays. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break from that. And let's jump back to the government audit real quick and see what we can find out about that. We're going to have we'll have Werner Schmidt there. We will have Sheriff Gray there. And yeah, let's have Ivan. So, I'll let you guys decide if Portia is in the vicinity. You can always have like somebody in the background or something like that, but I'm not going to say whether she's there or not. But we will have we'll have Stephen play Ivan, and then Patrick, you're going to play Werner Schmidt, and David, you will play Sheriff Gray. And the way I see it is right now, it's the same house that we've been seeing, the foreclosed house that has now recently been, I guess opened maybe. Werner and Ivan are standing in front of it. The door is open, but they're standing like on the porch. And you can hear sirens in the background, like in the distance. And that's Sheriff Gray coming whenever he feels like showing up. Cool. All right. Oh, and by the way, again, this is a scene where Sheriff Gray has a secret. So at some point, instead of saying a specific phrase, at some point during the scene, you just reveal a big secret. It could be about anything. It doesn't have anything to do. It doesn't have to do with Jessica Ashwick. It could be about anything at all. All right, action.
My friend, I am so glad we were able to come to an agreement. You make me so happy.
Yes, yes, and they say that a Russian never dreams. Meanwhile, I will be able to go on and make much good of this contribution to the fund. And of course, we will keep in mind the ladybirds as well, of course.
Of course, yes. But it will be a pleasure to have you on the city council. It will make this country feel so much like my homeland of Chechnya to have such fine politicians in office.
Yes, it is not very unlike the European Union. There's a lot we could learn from each other, you and I, and I believe that an art initiative would do much to improve the rustic charm of this our northern falls. And all of a sudden they hear, the Doppler effect kind of come down the street of the squad car, and Werner quickly just shoves the money like really obtrusively, like just sticking out of like one of his coat pockets.
You have not, how they say, rat poisoned me out?
I think that you have put the horse before the cart, as they say, with that expression.
The horse before the cart? Yes, that is what we do. We put the mustard on the horse. That is, as they say.
I would say no mustard for myself, if it were up to me, of course. But
of course, no mustard, but the mustard on the horse.
True. Yes, I am not familiar with every Chechnyan expression. I only took 2 semesters at it in Zurich. It is required, especially before the wall fell.
Bloop, 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 bloop. And Sheriff pulls up and he rolls the window down. Schmidt.
I didn't do nothing.
Schmidt, no, come here.
Kind of looks around cautiously, kind of goes over to the window. Yes, officer. How are you today?
Come on, Schmidt. Now's not the time. Get in the car. Come on.
Like tentatively hands him like a $5 bill. Like, can't we just make this go away?
God damn it! No, Schmidt. Just sit in the fucking passenger seat.
So
I
this
gotta
isn't
talk to you
about
about
the
something.
bribe. Just kind of catches himself and just complies, gets in the car.
Look. People are starting to ask questions, and I think that they might be onto the little game that you and I were pulling. Okay.
That little game. Okay. I have a few games on the table, as it were, but could you maybe be a little more specific? I have quite a few fingers in the pies, as they say.
Oh my God. I don't know why I got you that idiom book for Christmas. That was a goddamn mistake. But the one where we got rid of the girl that was really quiet, that saw the thing that she shouldn't have seen. That pie.
That pie. Yes.
Probably your biggest pie, if I had to guess.
Well, I'd forgotten about where we put that pie.
Yeah, that's the point. We're all supposed to forget. We're all supposed to not pay attention. It's not happening, though, and people are asking questions. So, what do you want me to do about it?
Well, we cannot have, how they say, the pie thief taking it from the windowsill. Just do your job, Sheriff. I pay you very well. This is really not my expertise. My expertise is, how you say, housing inspection and the like. Politicking, whatever. You're the muscle here. You're the strong arm. I'm sure that you can figure something out.
Oh my God. I'm not some cheesy law firm, all right? Can't just call me the strong arm and hope that I help you. Look, I'm going to need, if we're going to get rid of this problem, I'm going to need some more money.
He looks down at the $5 bill and hands it over slowly.
We can cut right there. Oh my God, that $5 bill. All right, I'm gonna put, let's see here, we've got government audit. I'll just stick one of those there. Werner, huh? I'm gonna put this guy over there, the red on the rat poison, and I'm gonna put the red on never dreams. All right, so cool. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to David. You'll notice that again, the sheriff, I didn't put one on the sheriff. So he's still got secret open. That does mean that if the sheriff is in another scene, he's going to have to reveal a different secret. I mean, it could be related, it could be not, but another secret will have to be revealed. And now we have a couple of characters that are secret revealing, right?
What happens if a token gets put on secret?
Once a token goes on secret, then that character gets retired. They will not be in any more scenes for the rest of the game. But as you see, like there's only a couple more scenes left. So, but yeah, that's what will happen.
All right, we're going to do let's do a final fireworks Friday with Schmidt, Roberta, and Schmidt, Roberta, and Lorraine. I think that Schmidt and Lorena are sitting at a park watching the fireworks together. And Roberta just happens to be like passing by at some point whenever Roberta thinks they should enter the scene. And we will have Tomer as Schmidt, Stephen as Lorena, and Roberta as Patrick. And action.
Vanna, these reviews of my opening night 2-2, they are spectacular. It is wonderful. You see this clipping? This is the best press, the most fabulous publicity. I tell you, this is if only I could find more undiscovered works by the great Jessica Ashwick.
Let me tell you something. We've been inspecting the house. They wanted to close it down, but there's more.
More! This is wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, here. Don't tell anyone. Shh, 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 shh.
Of course not.
You thought everything was in the attic.
Yes.
But the basement. You haven't seen the basement.
There's a basement? I did not think to look for a basement.
A hand with a very clear old-timey audio recording device sticks slowly from within a bush. Could you say that a little louder, please?
Oh, I can't get away from this one. I try and I try.
Roberta jumps like clean out of the bush, and she's wearing like jogging shorts. And she's like, "Oh, yeah." X totally surprised. Oh, well, what are y'all doing here? You know, it's such a fine evening.
It is a fine evening. We are sitting and we are watching the fireworks.
Lorena, did you enjoy my little puff piece about your event?
That was not a puff piece. That was a fine work of critical journalism. You sell yourself short.
You do this old heart so well. You know, I'm just out. You know, just trying to retain what youth I still have. I've been having quite a bit of hormone issues at my age, as you may know.
That is no excuse. I have had hormone issues for the last 14 years. It does not affect my temperament at all.
I can see that you're a very stable and well-recognized pillar of the community.
That is true. Very many people recognize me. I have a distinctive face. Very distinctive features.
You could say you have a distinctive style.
I do. It is very post-structuralist. I have cultivated it. Werner, would you not say that I have a very distinctive style?
Roberta looks at him.
Yes, nothing but.
It is true. I have nothing but style. Thank you. That is a high compliment from a man of such distinguished European taste.
I
meant nothing, just but.
Werner, while I was out, innocuously jogging, for my hormone issues, I couldn't help but overhear the fact that you were mentioning something about one of these houses you've been inspecting. Would you care to make a comment about that for the paper? I think it'd make an excellent expose.
Oh, just that this Northern Falls, it's so well. Everyone is so prepared. Even if there was a hurricane, you have the basements. That's all I was saying.
Yes, that'd be very odd to get a hurricane in north in the northwest. I see
and
what
yet
you're
you're
saying
so
there.
prepared.
We can cut the scene there. All right.
Oh, Steven, you were killing me.
All right, let's put a black on newspaper clippings on Lorraine. A black on hormone issues for Roberta, and then the red on the fireworks.
The recorder was great, by the way. All right.
All right. So for this one, I think we're going to go to leash laws. And I was like, Ivan, Portia, and let's go Lorena. David, you be Ivan, Tomar, Portia, and Stephen, Lorena again. In this situation, Ivan is out walking his dog with Lorena, and Portia. Maybe at this point the leash laws have been enacted, and they have this sort of like Lady and the Tramp, like twirling up with the leashes on the dogs, just out on the street. Okay, action.
Look at this, Lorena. They make me keep this fantastic beast chained to my wrist, like he is a savage animal, and not nobility bred to perfection.
It is the end of freedom, Ivan. First, they have the leash laws. Then they take away your guns. And then they come for the Europeans. And it is, we live in frightening times.
Oh, this country. It is going the way of the old country. Can I confide in you, my friend?
You can, my friend.
He looks left and he looks right. I fled the old country. I fled it with this dog. This beast is stolen property. I had to take him. I had to protect him. It was.
I understand, Ivan, but let me tell you, a dog has no true owner except the man who loves him. You are the dog's true owner.
Only you understand me.
Yes.
And even you, I'm sure, understands that even I, as the dog's master, can never truly own this magnificent beast. And I reach down, and I'm about to unclip the leash from its collar. What? What is it? What are you doing with this tramp near my magnificent animal?
We were having a very intimate conversation.
I know. Too intimate. I mean, not that I care, right? She's just staring daggers at Ivan.
And he just kind of looks a little bit jaunty, like, oh, I know what this is about. Don't worry, I'll straighten you out later.
You wish you could straighten me out. Those times are over. You're just another lost original.
Is that what I am?
Yes. I've lost it all for you. It's time to move on. But she kind of like, she eyes Lorena up and down a little bit.
No reason we can't sort this all out, one with another.
She hands her little like business card over to Lorena and walks off.
These American women, they are so jealous.
She does not understand. She is as ignorant as that girl, the one, the one.
Jessica Ashwick, yes.
Yes, the Ashwick.
I tell you secret, my darling.
What is this?
I am not European. I am
what?
I am Patty Ashwick, Jessica Ashwick cousin, but I make myself European by force of will.
You cannot be European just by wanting to be. You are a disgrace. You are dishonored.
There's no other way to be European. Only to have the spirit of a European. What is geography?
No, you are no longer my friend, and you will no longer hold the leash of my dog.
Okay, all right. See, that was so dramatic there.
Oh god.
Good. Okay. I'm gonna put one of the black ones on leash laws. I'm gonna put the red one on Lorena's secret. That was a pretty shocking reveal. And then the other one on Portia for another lost original.
All right. We've got one more scene. That's you, Stephen.
Okay, so it's a Jessica Ashwick scene. Let's see. Well, let's get the sheriff in this scene, I think. And it's Portia and Ivan, I think. So, okay, Tomer can be Sheriff Gray. David, you can be Portia, and Patrick is Ivan. And let's say you're all down at the police station in Sheriff Gray's office. He's called you in for an interview. Action.
I've called you in for an interview.
Ivan's just not even like acknowledging Portia's in the room. He's just still, kind of just aloof.
Well, what is it, Sheriff?
Look, I don't know what's happening between the two of you. It seems very cold in here. And he goes and grabs his big old jacket and puts it on.
Oh, please, Sheriff, it's not like the entire town knew that we were having an affair. And he just yells it and beats his hands on the desk. He's just enraged, just red-faced. His beard's all like stuck out like a cat's tail.
Look, I know more than most. There's a reason why I have this job. I'm good at what I do. I'm able to suss this stuff out. But there's something going on here, and that puts us all at jeopardy.
And what's that supposed to be, Sheriff?
I think you know. And he turns over to Ivan. Hey, does she know?
Like she would tell me at these points. Look at the Ice Queen over here.
Look, it's very, very unflattering when you have to ask me if I'm having an orgasm, all right? So
it is
if you wanna-
tradition in Homeland. It is called being polite.
If you can't tell, then maybe it's not happening. I'm just saying.
Sheriff's got his fingers in his ears.
And I start waving at him. I'm
Look,
like,
I don't
Sheriff, what do I maybe not know, but maybe know?
Look, we don't have time for this. All I know is I think people are maybe onto this. And I don't know how much time I have in this job left, but you promised me, right? I mean, I'm going to be head of security for Pieter's Imports, right?
Well, about that, Sheriff, it really, it's a complicated situation.
I don't want to hear complicated, schmomplicated. I've got a
I'll tell you
basement
the
full of
truth.
goods, and I'm gonna set it to blaze.
I will tell you the truth, Sheriff, and I've told no one this, but there is no Pietro's Imports. It is what you would call a shame. A shame. Am I saying this right? And he looks at Portia because just out of habit, like she usually corrected him. A shame, right?
Yes, your business that you have is a sham, and your thing that you have between your legs is a shame.
Ah,
Now-
yes, I see. A shame must mean a root, some form of tuber. I must get back to my translations classes, as they're called. But I appreciate the compliment, and I guess she's warming up. He looks at the sheriff, kind of like, this girl.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Sheriff, I think that you're probably about done for this town, based on what I've heard, but I wouldn't let you guard my boathouse. So
He's strapping on his gun, strapping on his handcuffs, putting on his hat.
Is that supposed to be intimidating, or are you just in a hurry to leave? You're the one who.
Yeah,
I'm ready to leave. I've got a basement full of stuff to burn.
Sheriff, you are no secret police, if I may be so bold. I don't think you could even solve this Ashwick murder going on.
I don't need to solve the Ashwick murder. All I know is, in America, a deal is a deal, and you haven't held up your end of the bargain. And now I got a basement full of stuff to burn. And he handcuffs both of you to each other, but through the chair over there, so you guys can't go anywhere.
Ivan looks visually aroused, but he's still not saying anything. He's just like, oh, this is the kinks.
No,
I'll tell Jessica you said hi, and he walks out and slams the door behind him.
No, Ivan, this isn't the kinks. We are being unlawfully detained, so enjoy yourself. And I pull out a cigarette on a stick and I light it.
Scene.
All right, they're yours to distribute.
Okay, so let's put a black on Jessica Ashwick and a red on Ivan's secret, and a black on the sheriff's secret.
All right. All right, cool. So the way the game works, once you've got all the scenes kind of finished out there, at that point, the game kind of ends, but we have this little end part here, right? So basically, the character with the most moving forward tokens, the most red tokens in this case, is going to end up being the murderer. Now you'll notice that we have a tie, right? So we've got both Ivan and Gail both have those three. Let me see where it says. If it's a tie, then we're going to have both of them responsible for the murder, right? So they've worked together. Also, the person who's placed the final tokens, which in this case is Steven, gets to describe how the murder happened and why, although we can play around if other people have ideas. The character with the most standing still tokens, if there's no tie, was an eyewitness to the killing. So if we've got, so we've got Sheriff Gray. so, so the murderer was both Ivan and Gail in some way, maybe working together, and Sheriff Gray was a witness to the murder. What do you think, Stephen? What's the story?
Okay, well, apparently Jessica. All right, Ivan. He through his contacts with the Chechen mafia, he was a very big weed importer into Washington. This is Chechen gold. It's for some reason it's very popular in Washington. They don't have a lot of homegrown marijuana there, so he was big drug dealer. He was trying to expand his drug empire into the high school, and Jessica Ashwick was threatening to expose it in the school newspaper. So he got Gail Fenimore to set her up. Gail said she was doing a photo shoot for the yearbook, and she lured Jessica to Portia's boathouse, where they killed her. They dumped the body in the lake, and Sheriff Gray just happened to be out fishing. He saw them dumping the body.
Awesome. All right. Does anybody have any other alternate theories?
Not so much an alternate as just a side note of Gail, because of the sheriff's involvement with Ivan, was more inclined toward helping them out because of her secret crush on the sheriff.
Nice. Cool. Anybody got anything else?
I'm thinking about it. Nah, I don't think so.
I love the there was, what was it? Oh, there was one scene I just remember where you can, like, even if people weren't responsible for the killing, that whole not caring too much about Jessica herself was just so apparent. There's like a scene with Lorena, I think, and there was like some toast about to you know, the poor girl's artwork or something. It had something to do with the artwork and nothing to do with the girl. You know, it was just great. But yeah, that's the game. What do you guys think?
That
yeah.
was a lot of fun, guys. I really appreciate the invite and appreciate the experience. It was really good.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It seemed like the central murder mystery was sort of, it wasn't really clear what direction we were going in with that. But I mean, a lot of the scenes were just sort of, it's like we didn't know quite how to do it, but at the same time we did end up building up these connections and these running gags, so it was fun.
It was very much like Twin Peaks in that respect, I guess. A confusing storyline with a lot of interesting characters.
Yeah, the characters were like so like, they just had so much going on with them. It felt like Twin Peaks characters, that it's like, oh my God, like, what is this character doing in this tiny little town in the middle of nowhere? Like, they've got way too much personality. Like, they belong somewhere else, right? And all of them had so much personality. It was really that was really a delightful part of this. Definitely skewed a bit comedic, so it felt like Twin Peaks if Twin Peaks were made just a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah.
And I definitely think, like Stephen was saying, like sometimes you kind of, you know, in these scenes, you're a little bit unsure which direction to go. There's like just enough structure to give you something, but like not enough to really help you. So that there's going to be a little bit of like that floundering and a little bit of like it doesn't always make sense. But again, I think if you know, kind of like what Twin Peaks kind of like feels like, and it's almost like expected to kind of go in this kind of weird direction, right?
Yeah, I was kind of in love with like that. There was this young girl who made art, and like no one really cared about her. But then after she was dead, like everyone cared about her art, and it was like, I don't know. I felt like that worked out pretty well. I was pretty happy with how that went.
And it's interesting that one post-structuralism kind of thing, and then the gallery owner being here, that informed a huge amount of that whole part of the narrative, right? Like, Lorena Bourdain doesn't need to be in the in the story at all, right? Like you can always choose. These are 8 of 24 available characters, right? And so like I've never played this game and had it have anything to do with Jessica being an artist or whatever, right? So every time you play it, it just really has kind of like a slightly different twist and feel. And
right. I mean, and I think the first scene in the art gallery, I don't think we said it was Jessica's art at all. I think we established that as sort of in the second art gallery scene, and then with just something where we just build and build and build on this.
Yeah,
it's like the characters were getting more and more over the top as we went on.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. That was a great time, though. Definitely more fun than I expected to have on a Tuesday night. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. And again, game I highly recommend. I'll throw it out here in case anyone's watching this thing later. You can get it on drive-through. You can pay extra for the cards if you want the deck of cards or whatever. But if you just buy the game, it's a PDF. You just print out and cut the cards out, and you do it yourself. And I think the rule book is like, I don't know, it's less than 30 pages, and most of that is the cards, right? My daughter's right here, barely visible. No, she's hiding again, but she remembers this game with fondness. Yeah, even little kids can play it. So cool. Oh, thanks, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording now.